Hello, this is Hot Culture. I'm Alexander Malic, and today's program is slightly unusual. We're shooting in the General Staff Building in the State Hermitage that hosts the exhibition Artificial Intelligence and the Dialogue of Cultures. Among other items, it features a series of works by the French art group Obvious. One of these works has been sold at the Christie's for $430,000. It was produced with the help of the competitive generative model. It's a part of artificial intelligence. For the first time in history, the work performed by an AI was valued so highly and sold at the Christie's for that much money and acknowledged by the world community. Everybody says it's a work of art. In the meanwhile, these artists are rather young. They were all born in 1994 and none of them had professional artistic training. I feel like it's really hot. When are we gonna be replaced by robots? This is what we're gonna talk about right now.
Kultur.
Hot culture.
Hot Kultur.
You call yourself artists, but actually you are programmers, am I right?
Well, all three of us, we're more on the technical side of things, but today you can be an artist using new tools, and we do program, so we come from programming, but today you can really be an artist with these new excellent instruments.
Now I've got to ask you, what's hot today? What do you like in contemporary art?
Art is an artistic process, and creating things that correspond to that artistic process. Our artistic process is explaining the artificial intelligence through a body of work, so in this sense, this is art.
Well, my question was slightly different. What do you listen to? What music? What art do you like? What films do you watch?
For example, there's this American TV series, Westworld, dealing with the subject of artificial intelligence. It inspired us a little since we deal with artificial intelligence.
Did this TV series inspire this work of yours?
Not specifically this one, but in general, TV series, films, science fiction, that's something very important for us. We adore it, be it films, TV series, YouTube videos, everything related to the subject matter. For instance, there is vast literature on the subject of artificial intelligence. This subject is very present in films and TV series. It all inspired us inevitably, one way or another, even if it didn't serve as a direct inspiration for this particular work. We hit the references to popular culture that we adore. This new Japanese series is called Electric Dreams of Yukio. It's a direct reference to the original book title of the Blade Runner.
If I ask each one of you to say something that you think is important to tell the audience, what they must see, read to approach the world of contemporary art.
We became fans of Anish Kapoor. I did. There's this artist that we met, his name is Klett, who's involved in urban art and who transforms traffic signs. And we really like his work, and we were lucky to meet him. No, it's all right. You like both? Yes, I agree with the two references. And who is this? Is he a contemporary? Who? That chiaroscuro guy. Well, he's not really contemporary, but I like Caravaggio a lot. He inspired some more works. I like his chiaroscuro style. Not really contemporary, but absolutely lovable.
How do you define what's hot today? Like how much it costs? How much hype it generates? Or the popularity doesn't actually matter?
Well, a bit of everything. Take, for example, something that we're all used to, not necessarily something that's dear to us, that's sneakers, they're footwear, typical like Nike. It's a perfect example. We think it's a kind of art. For us, everything design-related can be transformed into art. Actually, we're witnessing forgetting of the hip-hop culture that we're very much related to. We got the baseball caps and all, and we really like seeing the art of hip-hop, big dance, rap, all this. become an acclaimed form of art all over the world. I think that we're all inspired by someone like Virgil Abloh, who took what he liked, urban clothes, that gentrified it, showing it to different type of people, making high fashion out of it. This inspires us a lot, as with the basis of the artificial intelligence is what we know, what we like, and we possibly managed to gentrify it, and this work is what turned out.
There are always talks about artificial intelligence, and clearly it will only progress and develop. But the last barricade there was the creativity. The artificial intelligence couldn't create, cannot feel empathy, cannot be an artist. Your project shows that we are probably wrong here. Do you think we have crossed that line already?
No. Obviously, we haven't crossed that line. We have machines that, like people, can create artistic projects, giving their behavior, intention, sensibility related to an artistic project, and that leads to creating a work of art. But it's a fascinating question, provocative too, and very interesting. How can we show how certain machines can create some interesting visual content themselves? We can ask this question, but we haven't crossed the border yet. It's not really proper to talk about machines' creativity, as I cannot say that my dog is creative or that a photo camera creates. Only a human can create, so creativity is really the wrong word. Inventive maybe, but not creative. Creativity is a blurry concept, and everyone can suggest their own definition, but we see that trying to create with a machine, trying to introduce creating with the help of a machine, we can learn more about our manner of creativity.
I don't know how you guys, but I like to travel with a goal. And summer is the best time to visit a musical festival. Furthermore, on a music festival, you can see a lot of things that you can't see anywhere else. A lot of concerts. And we're here, came to Helsinki, the capital of Finland. We're on the electric station Suvilahti in the center of the city. And here, from 9 to 11 of August, you'll see the best festival in Northern Europe called Flow. This place right now doesn't look that fabulous. It's parking here and somebody's doing graffiti and guys are making kind of an oven. But from 9 to 11 of August, completely different world. Dozen of people, 10 stages, a lot of bands from Cardi B to The Cure are the headliners this year, and somebody completely unknown. So I suggest you to get going and to come to Helsinki from 9 to 11 of August. See you! Do you think a machine will be able to fully replace a creative person? Not now, but in some time.
Like we said before, we're in science fiction here. Science fiction can be genius, but it should stay science fiction. We don't have a crystal ball and we cannot know the future. Maybe, maybe not, we don't know. In any case, in the nearest future, to work every day, today there's a need for human participation to create something artistic.
D'un apport humain pour réaliser quelque chose de purement artistique.
If I may, I think the good way to consider the algorithms of artificial intelligence that we use today is to view them as a tool, a new brush or a new camera. Like when photography arrived, people thought it wasn't art, a new instrument, not an instrument to do art. The same we should treat artificial intelligence today, just a tool.
Okay, what would you like your children and grandchildren to learn in this coming world?
Ça c'est sûr, il faudrait qu'ils codent.
For sure. They must code. From the very young age, they should learn coding. It's such an important competence today that allows to do so many things. So one should learn it as early as possible.
So to learn to work with AI?
I think that the technical part is primordial, like Hugo said, and one needs to learn coding as young as possible. But also one needs to open up as much as possible. As artists talking about your time, and to be able to talk about it, one must know it and be curious about it. Coding allows you to do so many things that I can give this advice to parents. It allows you to express yourself in so many ways that it's a key competence. It's a universal language that allows you to express so many things, not limited to itself. So you should not only learn to code, but learn other stuff to express it with it. You don't learn to write just to write. You learn to write to express yourself.
But you don't go to an art school to become an artist.
We didn't go. We didn't go. It's possible to become an artist without going through this. You just have to be open.
It's clear, and there are historical examples of people becoming artists without this, but in relation to these works that we see today, and they're exhibited in one of the biggest museums in the world, and they're made by people who originally are not artists, and as I understand, we're not really going to engage in this, it just happened.
It just proves that no matter who has a message to communicate, and who wants to communicate it, and decides to do it in an artistic manner, can do so all the way up to a museum. We weren't artists before, but as soon as we decided to make art to talk about this subject, we automatically became them.
It's not because I doubt the artistic value of the work. In general, it seems to me an interesting conversation, a totally new way of putting the question.
Oh, sure, definitely, you bet.
I just wouldn't like to offend anyone, like some of my colleagues say on such occasions. Never.
No, never. Not at this stage.
All right, let's move to the practical side of the issue that you really wonder about, because everyone wants to know how it was actually made.
Well, to make this, how does the algorithm work? Using a huge base of images, it creates another one. For instance, there are 15,000 portraits, so it can create the 15,001. Let's explain the process from A to Z. First, you should pick an iconic subject that's going to resonate with the whole world. The whole world has already seen this kind of painting in museums or in history books. That's why we pick the subject, because everyone can understand the message, even if not everyone understands what artificial intelligence is. So, first, choice of subject. Second, retrieval of images. In this case, 15,000 classical portraits from the 14th through the 20th century. Then one must use the algorithm to generate a new portrait. Maybe I can explain how it works with the help of a little metaphor. There's two parts, a student and a professor in an art school. The goal of the student is to create a new Picasso. In this case, to create a new portrait. In the beginning, the student brings her first attempt, and the professor compares the fake one with the real one. As it goes step by step, the student is going to improve and make a portrait or a Picasso of a better quality. And we consider the process complete when the professor cannot tell the difference between the real one and the fake one, and then we retrieve the paintings. Then we can generate the new portraits, lots of them. A major part of our job is to decide which ones to include in the final collection of 11 portraits. We tried picking portraits with the biggest diversity. Men, women, different epochs represented there.
Des hommes, des femmes, différentes époques qui sont représentées.
Did I get right that the professor and the student are inside the artificial intelligence? They are arguing inside the machine.
This is an image. Actually, inside a computer, the two algorithms compete one against the other.
Why is everything blurry?
Et donc, à la fin,
Well,
c'est flou parce que
everything
justement,
is blurry
là, en l'occurrence,
because
les
in this
algorithmes qu'on a
case, the
utilisés,
algorithms
au moment où on
were
les a
created for
utilisés,
research.
c'était,
We
ce qu'ils
used
faisaient de
them,
mieux,
and
en
this
fait.
is what they did
Et en
better.
fait,
You've
ce
got
qu'il faut
to
comprendre, c'est
understand
que,
that
ce qu'il
these
faut
are
comprendre,
algorithms
c'est que c'est des algorithmes
created
créés
for
pour la
research,
recherche,
and
et que c'est
the
les chercheurs
researchers
qui les rendent
improve
de mieux
them
en mieux.
more
Donc,
and
c'est une histoire
more.
de qualité
It's
de
about
l'algorithme, en fait. Et
the
donc, en fait,
quality of the algorithms.
Ouais, donc en fait, on a
So
créé, on a
we
créé avec les
go
moyens
add.
qu'on avait
So
à
we
cette époque-là,
created
et on a
with the
utilisé,
means that
les
we
algorithmes
had
qu'on avait
at
à
the
disposition.
time.
Et donc c'est ce qui a donné
And
des résultats
we
comme
used
ça.
the algorithms
on
that
peut-
we
on peut
had,
voir,
and
au fur et à
this
mesure
is
du
the
temps et avec les
result
nouvelles
it
œuvres qu'on crée,
produced.
que, c'est aussi
And we can
un
see
point
how
de
with
travail et
other
on arrive à des
instruments
choses
we
qui sont
can
de plus en
reach
plus,
more and more
précises.
precise things.
C'est comme si en fait,
It's like for this
cette collection,
collection,
on avait
we used a
utilisé
certain
un
type of
certain
brush,
type de pinceau,
and for a
et
new
maintenant,
work,
pour nos
we will
nouveaux
use a
travaux,
better
on utilise
brush.
un meilleur pinceau.
C'est comme si c'était les premiers
It's like
appareils
the first
photo
photo
qui avaient
camera
créé
that
ces
produced
images-là,
images,
et que maintenant,
and now
on
we
a
have a
une
new
génération
generation of
d'appareils
cameras
photo qui est plus
performing
performante.
C'est
better.
ça, surtout.
Exactly.
Donc c'est comme
It's like
les
the first
premiers
photo
appareils
camera
photo, et
made a
maintenant,
blurry
les appareils
image,
photo font
and
des
now
images
we
de
have a
super
camera
haute qualité.
capable of producing
En
images
gros,
of super high quality.
Après,
Let's get
on a donc
back
ces
to the
images sur notre
process.
ordinateur.
Then we
Et
have
on va en
these
faire
images
des
in our
œuvres. Et
computer,
c'est là
and we've
que
got
vient
to
encore
make
un autre
paintings
choix
out
de
of
l'humain.
them,
Et
and
donc,
this is
quand
a
on
human
fait-
choice.
on choisit
When
le
we're
portrait
making
classique,
our
on essaie de se
classical
rapprocher
portrait,
le plus
we
possible
want to get
d'un
as close as
portrait
possible to a
classique. Et c'est pour ça
classical
qu'on a mis
portrait.
le
Hence,
cadre en
the
or
golden frame
et une
and the
et une
signature in the
signature
right
en bas.
bottom
Et
corner.
c'est pour ça que notre
And that's why
seconde
our
série
second
n'a pas
series is
exactement la même
different,
forme,
and
parce
we
qu'on
decided
essaie
to
de
approach
s'approcher cette
a
fois-ci
Japanese
de l'estampe
print.
japonaise. Et c'est
This
très
is
important
very
parce que c'est ce
important
qui fait la
because this is the
différence
difference
entre
between
un
a
fichier sur un
computer file
ordinateur et une
and a
vraie
real
œuvre d'art
completed
conceptuelle,
conceptual work of art.
aboutie.
Another funny
Un autre
thing
petit,
is the formula
truc marrant,
with which we
c'est
sign
la
the
formule
works.
avec laquelle
Usually,
on
with
signe.
this kind of
Comme vous l'avez vu sur
canvases,
ce
a
genre de
painter
tableau,
would sign them
d'habitude,
in the
le peintre
bottom right
signe en
corner,
bas à
and
droite,
we
et
did
donc
so.
on a signé,
But in
nous, en bas à
Japanese
droite.
prints,
Mais dans les
the
stampes
painter
japonaises,
didn't
les
do it
peintres,
this
ils ne
way.
signent pas pareil. Ils signent
He
avec un
stamped
plafond
it,
que vous
as you
pouvez
can
voir
see
sur nos
in this
estampes aussi.
work.
Et pour cette signature,
And
on a
for the
choisi
signature, we
d'utiliser
chose the
la
formula that
formule
makes the
qui fait
algorithm
fonctionner
work,
l'algorithme,
the
la formule
mathematical
mathématique.
formula.
Et c'est pour ça justement que
And so, with
c'est
this
via
signature, we
cette,
pose the
signature-là
question that we
qu'on
talked
pose la
about in the
question,
beginning. Can a machine
justement,
create?
dont on parlait au début sur est-ce qu'une machine peut créer?
C'est important,
It's
car
important
on fait
when
de l'art
making conceptual
conceptuel.
art.
Tout n'est pas
Not
uniquement dans le
everything
visuel.
is in the
Et donc, c'est
visual.
important
So it's
de
important to
donner aux
give
gens qui
people
regardent
who
nos pièces
regard our work
une
a
clé de
key for
compréhension, un
understanding,
indice,
a
pour qu'ils
hint
puissent
so
se
they
dire,
can say,
ah,
here's a
cette
difference.
toile a quelque chose de différent.
I just thought it's bizarre that in the world where everything is made in HD and 4K, I don't know how many Ks the quality of resolution you must produce a very imprecise image.
Ouais, c'est sûr.
C'est assez. Nous aussi, on a été. on a été
Yeah,
très surpris
we were
par,
really
par
surprised by the
ça.
result. We're going to reflect on this a
Donc maintenant, on a
little.
pu réfléchir un peu
We think
dessus,
it's also
et,
due to the
on
fact,
pense
first of
que,
all, that the subject of
c'est dû aussi
artificial
au fait
intelligence
que,
is
premièrement, que
now
l'intelligence
central to
artificielle,
the
c'est un sujet
society
qui est très
and
central dans nos
affects
sociétés, qui affecte
everybody.
un peu tout le monde. Deuxièmement, que c'était la
Secondly,
première fois
it's the
que,
first time a real
donc,
painting was made
tableau,
by artificial intelligence
créé avec
and
une
sold
intelligence
by a big
artificielle
house.
était vendu dans une des grandes maisons,
So
d'enchères.
we made
Donc, en
an
fait, ça en a fait
emblematic
un peu
piece
une
of work
pièce,
that brings together all
emblématique
arguments
qui,
that go around artificial intelligence in a physical
rassemble tous les
object
débats,
that allowed
qu'on peut avoir
everyone
autour de
to talk
l'intelligence
about
artificielle
the
dans
same
un objet
thing.
physique, et donc qui permet à tout le monde de parler de la même chose.
Do I understand it correctly that you make nothing by hand? The machine gives you these works and you don't touch them up and
Non,
down?
alors donc pas sur
Not in the
pas sur le
portraits,
portrait.
but
Par contre,
we
c'est
do
nous qui
sign the
signons à la main
paintings.
sur les tableaux.
Et on
And we
tape,
type too.
Et aussi, bien sûr,
And
on
we
code
paste the algorithm.
So this art is figurative because you uploaded these kind of patterns, these samples, right?
Alors oui, justement,
Exactly.
ça c'était un
This
choix
was an
important
important
dans
choice in our
dans
collection.
notre collection. On a
We
voulu faire
wanted
du
to do
figuratif
figurative
plutôt
rather
que
than
d'abstrait,
abstract,
parce que justement,
just because when you want to
comme on voulait
convey the
exprimer un
message
message
and
et
you want
on
to
voulait
show
montrer
what
ce
artificial
que
intelligence is
l'intelligence
capable of
artificielle était
making,
capable de faire, on a justement
we
préféré
wanted to
faire
produce
quelque chose
something
qui soit reconnaissable et
recognizable
qu'on
that
comprenne tout de
everyone
suite
figures out
que
right away
l'algorithme a
that
fonctionné.
the algorithm
Parce que si
really
on faisait
worked.
de l'art abstrait,
Because
quand on voit
had
le
it been
visuel,
abstract,
on
when
n'a
you see the
aucun
visual
indice qui nous permet
content,
de
you
dire,
have no indication that it really
ça a
worked.
été- enfin,
We're
ça a
really trying to do
fonctionné.
this.
Est-ce que l'algorithme
Did the
voulait faire ça?
algorithm
Est-ce que
try
vous
to
avez
do
essayé
this?
de faire ça?
And I think in our
Et c'est
future
pour ça
work,
que,
we
du coup,
really
que
like
même
figurative
je pense que
art,
pour
and
la
I
suite de
think
nos
that
travaux,
this
on aime
confrontation between figurative art and artificial intelligence is something interesting.
What do you think? If you start showing them the figurative art and upload your code into the computer, can it produce abstract images and vice versa? If you show it lots of abstract paintings, can you have figurative art in the output?
Alors, a priori, oui.
A priori, yes, it's doable, but it's very hard to evaluate abstract art. For instance, in classical art, artists have always been evaluated for the quality of their canvases, as they were figurative. In contemporary art, it's hard to say whether something is good or bad. So we could do it with artificial intelligence, but there has to be an interesting message behind it that makes the painting interesting. Once it's abstract, only people who know the algorithms and the artificial intelligence can understand what's behind it, while the figurative art makes you see immediately where we have the algorithm, and this is what's important for us.
But it's possible.
Yes. I think so. It's not our niche, but we really wanted to revisit the big themes of art history. It's true, and we had to make sacrifices because of that, as in our work we see paintings created by the algorithm, abstract ones, and they're superb, but they don't necessarily serve the message that we gave it. So these are not the paintings that we finally show, but there are some interesting results along the way.
I wanted to ask you about the name Bellamy, Bellamy family. What you see here, these are all portraits of the Bellamy family. So I get it. This is your gratitude to the creator of the code, as this code wasn't actually written by our guests. You just took an open code and used it, right?
It's not the code creator, it's the creator of the algorithm. Hugo will explain it better, but it's the person, the brilliant mathematician who found the formula, not the code. You should differentiate these two. And so this person by the name of Ian Goodfellow, he's a researcher in artificial intelligence, and it's cool that thanks to this collection we had a chance to meet and we talked about this collection.
But you had a conflict. He made this code not to commercialize it, but after you sold the painting, you happened to gain profit from it.
Right. You've got to understand that inventing this algorithm is like solving a theorem. It's like with a Pythagoras theorem. You can't commercialize it per se, you can only know it. If you're a creator of software based on Pythagoras theorem, you can make the code and software, and it is the software that you sell. Ian Goodfellow's goal was not making software, his goal was to make this scientific discovery and give it to everyone.
Okay, I know, I get it, like a solution to a mathematical problem.
Yes, that's why there's no conflict, and also this is how we paid him an homage by this work in such a way, exceptional way.
But there was some resentment on his part. It's not clear what his attitude was.
I think we're talking about different people. Actually, there was another person who before us applied this formula, and this person was in conflict with the work that we produced. He didn't want to commercialize it, and this is something that we did. We asked him for his approval, and he was okay with it, because in the beginning it was a small project. But in view of the enormous attention it drew and the success of this collection, he reckoned that it wasn't just.
Why did he think so?
Because we took a part of his work, and he was okay with it without using it. Then he thought it wasn't just. It's like we took his camera settings, he's a photographer, we're photographers, we took his settings and he claims that these settings are a major part of the work, which was not true. When constructing an algorithm, we don't write from scratch, we take different parts that are open source. We put them together and make them work for the subject that is of interest to us. So by all means, everyone who contributed to writing the code and everyone who contributed before them participated in creating this work. But it's important to remind you that we're talking here only about the technology, not the artistic process, because there are choices. The choices are obvious. The golden frame, the formula down there, selecting the portraits. This is us. And a work of art is not produced only by technology. It's a general approach and the artistic process. And that is why the Christies approached us, because these are portraits produced by artificial intelligence, presented in a comprehensible manner. That's what they liked about our approach and decided to present the actual work to the clients.
That's why the art world acknowledged you.
Voila, this allowed us to enter the art world.
Okay, I didn't ask you in the beginning, but what's your educational background?
I was a researcher in artificial intelligence. I did my PhD in artificial intelligence. Economy? Same, I combined economy and entrepreneurship.
How come you've embarked on this?
It's the fusion of the three of us who know each other, we like each other, and this produced a project.
So this sounds cool, let's try it.
Exactly. It's not just professional, lots of personal factors, and what we like doing. We didn't go to an art school, but this is something that we like. It's a hobby.
But you did have some knowledge of art history when you were doing this.
The basics. Lucky to have had parents who brought us to museums and took us around the world, so we have this art culture. But primarily the starting point was that the three of us wanted to make a project together. And we decided to use artificial intelligence because I was researching it at the moment. And when we saw the algorithm that made new images, we said, this is genius, we're going to do something. For weeks, we reflected, what is it making art with algorithms? We posed ourselves questions that we found fascinating. Who is an artist? Can an algorithm be creative? Where are the borders of art? Is it really something or is it just us? Let's do something that talks to a lot of people, and here we are, look at this. This will interest the general public, the art world, and even some art collectors. I think it's important that we three had the desire to create something. We just wanted to have a project, a professional or a friendly one, which eventually led to this visual project.
Why did it turn out so expensive? I mean, $430,000 US.
It's because in the beginning it was a work of art with a message, but the message got so important that the media got interested and the piece became iconic and an historic brand. So for someone who doesn't care about money, to buy an historic brand is a great opportunity.
Acheter un brin d'histoire, c'est une super opportunité.
What's funny is that some people already want to rebuy it for more money. We don't know what will be in the future, but that piece of work is a part of history. We ask the question whether it's justified. It's not for us to answer it. We don't know. And I think we're going to have this discussion, and it can be really interesting for 10, 15 years. We need this distance. You have to understand, when we made it, our work got bigger than us. We can't control it now. We're just spectators. Interested.
Well, maybe it's not your best financial interest to answer this question, but how many of such works can you produce in, say, 6 months? How long does it take?
Once the algorithm is launched, it creates dozens of thousands of images. But our approach is different, and especially if we limit production, this augments the rarity. For instance, we have a rule never to make 2 copies of one painting. And we sign contracts with people who buy our paintings that there will be no reproduction. Since there's a lot of work in the artistic process, on the content we construct around the pieces, we keep it concentrated in a limited collection, so that it doesn't get lost in a multitude of images. It should remain concise.
Ход культур.
Am I right in assuming that if I somehow come to you and there is this algorithm on a flashcard, and if I take it, I can also become like you, but I'm going to upload different paintings?
Yes, but yes, but you'll have to be as cunning as Hugo.
Can you do the same with food or, I don't know, fashion?
Ah oui, oui, oui.
Yes, yes.
Donc nous, on est très
Yes,
intéressés
we're very much interested in applying these algorithms to other kinds of art. Another very interesting subject is fashion, and we're on the verge of working with fashion people. Other interesting areas are film and music, and all kinds of visual content. We're going to work on an album cover.
Par exemple, on va sûrement bosser sur une couverture d'album.
In the process of explaining and democratization of artificial intelligence, we want to speak to the whole world, to everyone who doesn't understand artificial intelligence, but especially to all kinds of artists in many various kinds of art that can profit from it, for them to profit from the algorithms, to be more creative in a different manner. This will also lead to a new type of artist that couldn't express herself creatively before the door was open.
Right, on the other hand, if there hadn't been other artists before you who created something that you use.
It's true.
And the last question, we all watched this conversation for so long, I hope, only to hear from this man of future, literally, the answer to the question, when are we gonna be replaced by the robots?
This is the question. We don't always agree. I, as a researcher in the field of artificial intelligence, know what's going on there today. And I know I can tell you we're very, very far away from robots that can put us in danger, to put in danger what is human. For the time being, human characteristics are impossible to imitate. To add to this, robots have already replaced humans in certain tasks, tasks that take a lot of time, tasks we don't want to do. So we can ask a question about robots replacing humans in creative areas. When will people stop wanting to be creative? And I don't think this will happen. This will surely never happen. And I think that humans will remain forever, and that whatever the technical progress, robots will never replace humans. I think that I myself am influenced by science fiction and all these stories of humans being replaced by robots. But in the future, there will always be a button to push and turn them off. Things are not that bad for the time being.
Well, it's important for this button not to be locked.
Hugh, are you afraid?
Yes, I'm afraid a little. I'm afraid I can't reach that button.
There's the cable.
Yeah, the cable, the battery. Thank you very much. This is it, dear friends, for today. As always, you will find all the links in the video description. Thanks for watching this conversation, not typical for us, but I hope you found it interesting. See you and subscribe.
I think that robots already vanquished and replaced many people, because some people have already started to talk and think like robots and so on. Gadgets define their mentality, behavior, and often speech. Look at some people, they talk like gadgets, and Siri and who else, Alice, are smarter than many people. But seriously, I think they will conquer us very soon, and according to all broadcasts, the victory will be immediate. It's not like we're going to struggle, anguish, and suffer long. They will conquer us suddenly, and we will forget about it right away. What we see here is a test case that shows us what's going on. It's a cry for help from our civilization on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's a story of how it's going and of possible ways of development. Canvases produced by artificial intelligence will appear in museums alongside the ones painted by real artists. First one, then two, and dozens, then 100 times more than paintings by real artists. It's an acknowledged art. It's sold, it's exhibited. It's an object of all processes happening in contemporary art.